So regardless as to what happens with the TikTok ban, it is just a good wake up call, because if these platforms disappear tomorrow, do you own your own stuff, or is it only saved there? And then you have to fight and ask permission, and you're playing the class action lawsuit game or whatever, and you may never get it. And those memories and those moments are just lost or whatever. So it's just something to kind of put at the forefront and, start diversifying not just your content, but start looking at where have I given just full control to a platform. I'm super excited to be your educator. My name is Diana Gladney. I teach by the learn and do philosophy. So whatever it is that you just learned, go and execute on it. More relevant content is usually the answer to any issues creators today are facing. When you're thinking about creating content, either you're going to create excuses or you're going to execute. Video brings your vision to life. What is up, entrepreneurs? Welcome back to the Video Simplified podcast with me, your hostess, the mostess, Diana Gladney. Today we're doing this episode a little bit different. This is more of a news-esque type of thing, just because a lot of stuff has been happening in the industry, but there are two major things that I really want to bring your attention to as a content creating entrepreneur. Number one, because as we are entrepreneurs in this space, you're making content for your business, or making content in general is your business, whatever that form is. These two will hit home for all of us. And so, of course, that first one being TikTok, and then the other one being some Shady Acres brand practices that I think is kind of a whistleblowing type situation that we're entering here. It's not the first time something like this has happened, but it is the first time I'm seeing things at this scale in this way being done that I think, if you are not aware, could potentially damage your business and your brand that you've worked so hard to build. The first of these is going to be the TikTok ban. You've probably heard about it, and I think to a point we're all kind of exhausted with hearing more about it, and I get it. But there's some things as a creator we should be doing and being aware of. And if this ban, I don't think I agree with my friend, Wave Wild. Wave was talking about this. My friend Kenya Kelly, both of those women are exceptional TikTok experts. And those have been their primary platforms. And this is not the first time that we're hearing this. It's kind of been grumbling for a while. And so when we look at when is this going to actually happen, it is a reality that it could be some time. And if you know anything about the U.S. justice system, it takes a while. Nothing happens quickly. That being the case, taking this from something I heard Wave talk about on one of her Instagram stories, is that because this is an election year, which is a great point, that we have the potential to potentially even see this overturned to a point, or to see different litigation put forward on this. So what does this mean for you and I? Number one, it just is more of a reason to get our ducks in a row. This is constantly brought to our attention in one form or another, whether you see larger channels and platforms get their channel hacked. You'll see a platform shut down. We've seen quite a few. If you've been around the block for a little while, we've seen quite a few come and go, or come in popularity and then drop. MySpace is a great example. We didn't have the creator economy that we do now in that time, but it was in the process of being built. That's another one. I'm trying to think. It was like green or something was the logo. You have all kinds that'll constantly pop up, and then sometimes they go away. And no matter if they're a mega giant, everybody has the possibility to hit that blockbuster effect. So what does that mean for you and I? What should we be doing? Number one, I think the main thing is making sure that you own, are in control of, and have every bit of your own content. There's no tool specifically that I can recommend to you, but if you Google search it, there's plenty of tools out there. You don't have to download anything to your computer per se. Obviously, be careful because all these tools are different in their degrees of safety, but you can download your videos from TikTok. You can download your videos from Instagram. And a lot of them have where you can just go in through your settings and download it that way. So if you don't have your content, download your content. The other thing I would do is start uploading that to the cloud and not just having it in like an SSD or something like that or on your computer, but upload it to the cloud. If you have a virtual assistant or if you have admin time set aside, start organizing it based on your content pillar so you know where to go find different things. If you've been doing this for a year, it could take, on the cheap end, if you hire, let's say, somebody overseas, and I'm saying cheap relative to what you would pay potentially, like if you're a US citizen, like in US currency, for somebody to do it. And you could pay and hire a temporary virtual assistant, because they do have those that will do just only for so many hours. You have places like Upwork where you can go and hire somebody to do this for a minute. And so they could spend a couple days on it. And so maybe they only spend like 14 hours doing this. And so you just pay them that flat rate, whatever it is, maybe that you agree on, or pay them an hourly rate for them to do it. And they can just do it for you. That way it's not on you and it costs you less than you probably spent on DoorDash last month. That's one thing. The other thing is, because I definitely had some notes, so I'm bringing my notes forward into the conversation. The next thing is making sure that you own your own media and you have your own digital real estate. The first of those being yourname.com. Whatever your name is, you should have own that.com, because it's your digital real estate. Not going to go into the details around it, but own your name, even if it just redirects to your link in bio page or whatever. You don't have a website set up, but that would be the second thing. Get a website. It could be a one-page website. You don't have to have a blog and have to have a hashtag, all the things, but it does make sense to have one. So yourname.com is something that you own, and that .com goes to your website that you own, because you can control where that stuff goes. Number 3, have your own email list. If like I've made this mistake recently, got beside myself and just and honestly just even going through and just fighting just the desire to, at some points, just like to show up, be present. I'm like, you know what, I need a break. Having a lot of stuff put on me. I'm like, I need a break. And so I took that break recently. And so I've needed it. I just needed time offline. I'm like, for me to be present for me, I need to be present for me. And that means taking time offline. And so I did that. And so for a long time, it's like I hadn't sent an email to my email list, but I still own an email list. And so I can re-engage with that email list at any point that I feel like. And people have specifically message me and ask, what is the email list? So when you do post, I get it, because I don't trust the platforms to tell me about it. Or even people wondering, it's like, have you been shadow banned? I'm just now seeing you repost. It's like, no, I just haven't posted in a while on social, on some of these platforms. I'm just now getting back into it, because it's like I may, do a podcast here, may do a YouTube video there, but not in the way that I was present. But I still own all of these different digital assets. I'm still doing speaking engagements. I'm still working with clients. Like, I'm still working on the back end. Still have other stuff that is not social media related, but it comes by way of my even just existing content on the platform. And so that's wonderful, but you have to own your stuff. If nothing else, like a yourname.com homepage, whatever, and you can do different sections. There's plenty of YouTube videos on how to do that and break that down, but go for it. It takes very, very little to do it. Those are some of the things that you need to start owning. This is something that I started doing just because I don't necessarily trust these platforms to be evergreen for forever. And then you never know, they literally could change. When you sign up for the terms and conditions, you sign up for them to change it whenever they feel like it. And if you want to play the game of social media, you're playing by someone else's rules on someone else's playground. So you have to abide by their rules. That's great. But if you're going to record your own stuff, instead of recording it in the dedicated app on the platforms and it lives there as a draft, have and go ahead and get cloud storage or increase your storage. I get it costs, but this is number one, it would be a tax write-off for your business. And number 2, it's unavoidable to a point. Scaling requires the elements to be able to scale. And a lot of that is the digital space that you need. Like, you just need it. You need the cloud storage. And so, yeah, it's like, well, I'm just going to buy a bunch of SSDs. All it takes is for a disk to fail. Spinning disks, or should HDDs, SSDs don't have the spinning disks, but those can still go corrupt and those can still fail. It happens. I've had computers where they will literally just crash, brand new crash. And it's like whatever I had on the computer doesn't exist anymore. So it's 2 is 1 and 1 is none. So back it up at least to 2 places. That's great if you want a hard copy version someplace. Fantastic. Save it also to the cloud. Fact you're recording in your phone, if you have like iCloud storage or Google storage or something like that, save it there also. But make it in your phone first, unless you need a part or a segment that you're using, like some feature or something inside of TikTok or Instagram or whatever, like the green screen and all that. Okay, use that bit, but download it also without the music or what have you, but still with your voice, because you can always add that music in post. That's fine. But own your different parts. Have the raw footage for that, not just the finished version, but have the raw footage for that. So you have flexibility to remake that if you need to later on, if you need to. So that's what I would say is make sure, like I said, you own your own media so that you have access to your people. Because followers are numbers that can disappear with a virtual mistake or with virtual intention. Meaning it could be where people have accidentally had their channels accidentally deleted for whatever reason, or because you had some hacker or somebody attack your account or whatever, or they attack the platform. And so you by proxy are unfortunately caught up in that. Unfortunately, you know what I'm saying? So it happens. So you just want to own your own stuff to be able to take it wherever you want without fighting to take the watermark off. So you may have to do that initially or whatever. But again, hire somebody to do that, earn back and buy back your time and focus on what's most important, which is your content, your media, your data, your digital real estate, and you having access to your people. So regardless as to what happens with the TikTok ban, it is just a good wake up call because if these platforms disappear tomorrow, do you own your own stuff, or is it only saved there? And then you have to fight and ask permission and you're playing the class action lawsuit game or whatever, and you may never get it. And those memories and those moments are just lost or whatever. So it's just something to kind of put at the forefront and, start diversifying, not just your content, but start looking at where have I given just full control to a platform. For somebody like me, that may be YouTube. And there are things that I'm like, it's only on YouTube and I'm okay with it being on YouTube. And it's not something I wouldn't either, 1, mind recreating if it disappeared or whatever, or 2, I already have it backed up and it's not that big deal. Or 3 is just like, I don't mind if it disappears and it is what it is. Oh, it's only for there and to live there. And if it disappears there, then it's not anything that I would necessarily maybe want to keep. It's no big deal. So that's something to take into consideration. You don't have to save everything, but there are some things that you probably want to start saying. For example, and we'll move on to this next one. I save the B-roll when we have new B-roll because we have what's called a B-roll library in the business. So when we have B-roll clips and stuff like that, so we're not always like hunting that down in whatever video we used it in a couple times to get that B-roll. You have stuff like story blocks, but it just is better, performs better, holds attention better when we have our own natural B-roll. And so we create a B-roll library of the stuff that I use, I'm talking about, I'm recommending or what have you. So we own our own media there. We don't have to ask permission for using somebody else's stuff. Sometimes we may borrow creator content or whatever and give attributes in the bottom of the video or something like that when we say like, this is from that creator or whatever. Just because we're borrowing it, but it's like to give respect where respect is due. Try not to do that. Just try to minimize that as much as possible. But the other thing was like, we'll save the final video because it's very rarely I want that raw footage as is, because the only usable parts is the parts that we used. And so at best, you could probably save one without music and one with music if you could foresee you doing something with that later on. But again, there's now AI tools that can remove the music for you and you can go from there. So something to think about if you're a TikTok creator or that's a primary platform for you. Hell, TikTok for us is up there with the YouTube channel. And so it's really interesting because it hit it fast, but it's up there. So it's something to consider and something to think about. The next one is, I think, a very dangerous situation that's happening in the creator space. And it's very different. It's been different times. And I've turned down a lot of things, programs, turned down a lot of money because it wasn't right. It wasn't anything to like a whistleblowing kind of thing, but you can always tell when certain brands, large, small, or otherwise, are trying to take advantage of you and take advantage of creators not knowing any better. Unfortunately, it is up to you to do your due diligence. It is up to you to be vigilant, and it is up to you to be on top and on brand for what is most important that you should know. Like, that's why I'm doing this kind of news-ish kind of a segment for the podcast this week, because it's important. Like this stuff is actually really important. What happened in this situation, which I'll bring and show you all a piece of this video, and I would highly encourage you to watch it. I'll put a link to it in the show notes and in the descriptions on YouTube if you're watching this or what have you. But if you're listening to this, it'll be in the show notes. But there's a creator named Farouk. He runs a channel called iPhonedo and very prevalent in the camera and tech creator space. He got a very, very disturbing email, and I don't want to play the whole thing, but I am going to play a part of it because I cannot do the explanation of this justice. This is something you truly need to see. And if you're not watching this and you're listening to it, I would encourage you to check this portion out again over on YouTube on the Video Simplified podcast channel. You just type in at Video Simplified podcast and it comes up on YouTube. But let me show you this part from Farouk's video where he's talking about a brand basically asking him to essentially kind of break the law.
Insta360 shamelessly have been asking, requesting, suggesting content creators to hide that they are sponsored by Insta360. According to Aaron, Insta360 said, "Would you be comfortable in featuring the product without mentioning we are the sponsor, since it would be more trustworthy and organic?" Trustworthy and organic. I understand the organic part because people, of course, don't want to watch ads. So when they see hashtag ad, they will pass it. That's the thing with the sponsored videos. But making it trustworthy and calling it trustworthy and organic is on another level, because fun fact, non-disclosing your sponsor is illegal. I think this is the first time I said on this channel. And this totally deserved it. I don't know where else it's illegal in. It's illegal in US, and Erin is a New York City photographer, so she is in US. Why do I bring this up? Because it's not just Erin. Insta360 has lost their minds. I was working on a video for Insta360 X4. During that, they asked me to mention that I'm sponsored as little as possible. And this was all done right after I shot everything. Everything was ready just to be edited. And since exactly the same thing happened with Ace Pro, I was already mad at them. Insta360 wasn't always like this. Actually, when we first started working together, the first email they sent to me says how much they like because I am an honest creator. And this happened during that time when GoPro released the Karma drone. And I think Engadget, one of those tech outlets, was absolutely lying about what a great drone GoPro Karma is. Now it sounds funny, isn't it? Now it's funny because, back then it was only me and Justine who was telling the drone was garbage. I had a video that was entirely dedicated to what a terrible drone that is, and that got a lot of attention. Later on, DJI invited me as a speaker during CES, and I was there. Engadget saw that, put a spin on it, and then they put out an article that says, hey, this guy actually works at DJI. That's why he says Karma is a bad drone. Karma is not a bad drone at all. Insta360 in that email is referring to that. They're talking about how much they liked my honesty and how much they respected that. So
I'm gonna pause it there. So I played quite a bit of this because I got, number one, you need context, and then number two, the freaking email And I know he used some strong language there, and we'll take and mute that bit out. But the thing is this, he's right. Now, recently, there was some issues, even with one of the recent GoPro releases, whatever the last one was. And there were some people that declined to take the camera, but you also saw them reach out to other creators, because you think about it, a huge brand, you've been working your butt off, a huge brand reaches out to you and says, we'll give you the embargo camera. Here's what you need. Here's what we're looking for, or whatever, for the release date, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But you need to do X, Y, and Z to get it. Do you say yes or do you say no? What does this make possible for you potentially in your business? What door does this open up for you? This, whatever. But the key point is to what this company now is asking him to do, and other creators apparently, is to say less and less that it's basically sponsored. They want it to feel like how we genuinely make a video when it's just us speaking from the heart. We spend our own hard-earned money on it. So there's no relationship with the brand other than us spending, you know what I'm saying? Like us initiating it, right? Like we're a purchaser. We're a creator, but we're a purchaser. We're a customer. So they wanted to have that kind of a vibe. They want it to be that kind of content. But let me scroll back in the email. It's saying, this is for somebody else. This is not his per se. This is a conversation that he's having with this person, Aaron. It's like, so this is the email that she got. I checked out your Instagram channel. We really like your stuff. You usually hear that. We think our products would be a great fit for you, blah, blah, blah. UGC says, and we are trying to leverage more organic UGC content, which is user generated content, which is stuff that we make, stuff that I make around cameras, what have you. So that's UGC content. Would you be interested in working with us on the user-generated content for the latest camera? We're looking to have 5 TikTok videos, like a series to showcase. So essentially like a playlist of stuff. But again, they want a series of videos for the key features, behind the scenes, take a look at XYZ example, channel links, blah, blah, blah. Kicker. Would you be comfortable in featuring the product without mentioning we are the sponsor? Illegal. 100% illegal. It doesn't say minimize it. It just says without mentioning that we sponsored this. Since it would be more trustworthy and organic, and you can definitely make the videos the way that you like. Please let me know if you're interested. I look forward to hearing from you. What in the hey, Arnold? This is super disturbing because, number one, they put it in writing. So there's your proof. There's the paper trail started already. Number two, and again, you could have where it's possible you get somebody that's working for the company, they get instruction that they should do X. We need more authentic, like let's say the messaging is we need more authentic user generated content. So make sure you push that emphasis. I remember when I worked at the bank, they would have different things like, oh, we need more reviews for X on, on this platform. So, really encourage them to do this or blah, blah, blah. But maybe they have some language tracks of what you should say. And then maybe they don't, and they leave it up to your interpretation. So there's a potential there. But the fact that you have this across multiple people, it is saying like something's being said. But to also know that somewhere potentially it's been okayed, that like see if they'll do it without mentioning, because technically the creator is liable. We're liable. We're the ones held responsible if we do this. We're breaking the law because maybe, I don't know where that company is based out of, but let's just say it's someplace else, and let's just say pretend that those rules don't exist in said country. Like the home country is X, and we're over here in the United States, in America, and our rules do state this. So they may not be in trouble, but we would be. It's getting dangerous out here in these real and digital streets. It's getting crazy because this is not the first time you'll see stuff like this, but it's up to you to know what to do, what to say, or whatever. And I did play quite a bit of that, but I really do encourage you to go and watch the entire video, share the video, because it's uber important that this kind of stuff is known. This kind of stuff is shared, because this is, like I said, I believe a whistleblowing type situation that needs to put all creators on alert. Would you be comfortable in would you be comfortable in featuring the product without mentioning we are the sponsor? You must always disclose if your video is sponsored. You need to disclose if you were sent that stuff. Here's the other kicker. A lot of creators aren't aware of this either. If a company offers to send you something for free and they want you to do it in exchange for a video, in the United States, it is considered a barter. And that now is a form of income. So you may receive a $200-$300 thing, $500 thing. You may receive $50 thing, whatever. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, pick a lens cap for even. So it doesn't matter. You, number one, you have now created a paper trail, and you said, I will make this video in exchange for a free thing that you will send me. It's free to them. They get the marketing, they get the profiting, they get all of whatever research and stuff that you're going to do for that video, however that you tend to, especially if you want to establish a relationship with them. But for you, it is in exchange and is a form now considered as a form of income. So if you're not prepared to, and you, again, I'm not a CPA or anything like that or tax professional, talk to your people about all that, hashtag all the things for the disclosure. But think about that. That's a game that gets played that people aren't aware of. So what do you do in that case? You take the approach of, you're welcome to send me whatever you want, but I can't guarantee a video is going to get done about it. You can send it and you can mail it. It looks interesting. It may be appealing to my audience, because think about all the work that you've done to build the trust and authenticity for the business and the brand that you're building, that you want longstanding, and to hit all of these different goals that you have set for your life, right? Maybe you want to quit your job. Maybe you want to replace your husband or wife's income. Maybe you want to be able to pay your car note even with the money that you're making. Maybe you want to buy new gear and equipment that makes the dream more possible. Think about that. Just think about it. So you're looking at it, oh, okay, this could bring me more views, this could bring me more attention, this is blah, 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 kind of a thing, right? Well, what about those brands that say, if you will send you the thing, it won't cost you anything, but pay for it on Amazon, send us a copy of the receipt, and then we'll send you your money back via PayPal. So the thing is really free. It won't cost you nothing, but you also got to leave a review, a 5-star review on Amazon. Also illegal. and definitely, if not completely illegal, then let's just say that's not legally binding, right? Amazon, don't play that. Is your Amazon affiliate account and the ability to make Amazon income affiliates, worth it? Is it worth it? Is it worth threatening it? It was something I learned from as a pastor that I listened to online. And he said, I believe it was this Michael Todd that said this. It's like a couple years ago. He said, trust is lost in buckets and earned back in drops. Trust is lost in buckets and earned back in drops. It takes hellas to build a channel, build an audience, create authority, create a brand that is long-standing, trustworthy, hashtag all the things, right? For people to know like they're coming to you for the real deal Holyfield. And then it's very easy to just dump all of that out. Like I said, trust lost in buckets. Just dump all that out with the wrong decision. And it's just gone. Some people are more forgiving than others. Some people are more understanding than others. But is it worth it? Is it worth it? The answer, in my opinion, 100% out of 100 is no. even to the point of where it's a legal deal that I've had on the table where it may pay and looks good, but it has nothing to do with nothing that's appealing to my ideal target audience. It fits nowhere in the grand scheme of things of stuff that we would need or make life easier or helpful or whatever. It's just them wanting to take advantage of the niched audience that you've built. And here's the kicker. I've built an audience of buyers that's very attractive to brands. I've built an audience of buyers that when I speak and share and make references to stuff, and I put my stamp of approval behind it, it gets my DG stamp of creator approval, then people buy stuff, and I have a track record of that. But it's because they trust me. But because that trust is warranted. You know what I'm saying? Like, because I take the same value as if it was me asking somebody in my position and wanting a true answer versus just wanting the sale. Because sometimes I'll tell people no. And that builds trust because I'm just being honest with them. It's unfortunate that in 2024, moving into 2025 and all of that and all the rest, trust is still something that we're constantly searching for. And this is why people have issues with trusting online content like on YouTube and stuff like that, because people take the bag and they want to cash out because we got to pay our bills. Let's not get it twisted. And it's not to say you can't take a deal for something. Like, I'm trying to think of something, it's like you'll see good one. It may be like a credit card or a savings card or something like that kind of a thing. And that's fine because everybody deals with financials to some extent, and it may be good for some and not for others. And so that brand deal, essentially it does make sense. Is it, maybe a software program for creators or what have you? No, but it's still something that makes sense in their world, somewhere in the scope of their life. Some stuff is just completely out of pocket, but some stuff is not. So I get it, because everybody wants free content for free, but it's going to cost somebody something. And it's usually out of our pockets first, because we're investing in our vision and our dreams and our goals. And all of that, in my opinion, is not worth it for brands like this, which I'm really disappointed to hear. And I haven't even heard any damage control statements back of this. That's even more concerning. Usually when a company gets called out, you'll hear that, well, we apologize. Twitter. Gosh, everybody posts to Twitter or X or whatever the hell we want to call it now. They'll post a Twitter thing and say, we apologize. We really care about our people. And, it's not our brand values. We stick to whatever copy and paste stuff from our mission vision page, and we'll do better in the future. We hope that we can regain your trust. You know what I'm saying? We see it with actors. We see it with news anchor people. We see it with stores and brands and stuff. Everybody's done the "we're sorry, you caught us in whatever bad thing. We'll try to fix it next time." Or we try to watch for it next time. We've all seen it a bajillion times over. This ain't that. It's a blatant, look, we need you to, you know what I'm saying? We're asking you cool with this? We need you to really sell this thing. We need you to put all your mojo behind of it. We need you. Like I said, put your mojo behind it. Don't really talk about it that is sponsored. We need it to feel like you bought this because you wanted it. You bought this because it was, you know what I'm saying? We need that. That's dangerous. Very dangerous. I'm bringing this up and I'm putting as much emphasis. And like I said, please go and watch Farouk's video. He is somebody that is very trustworthy, and that in the scope of the years of watching content and stuff like that, there are some people that are just real. There are those that are out there where everything is made out to be as if it's cool, even when it sucks. And I hate to be that person online, but usually when something sucks, it's just like, oh, what do you think about a session? And be like, nah, I wouldn't put my name behind it. You're welcome to put yours behind it if you want to, and you want to talk about it. Because for some people and a lot of people, $500, $600, $7,000, $8,000 It's like that's a lot of money. And we don't know where people have to take sometimes that money from in order to invest in themselves. And we all do have to, like, not everybody has 100% surplus. And some people do, and that's great. But there are those people, and I've had those conversations. They can spend this money once, and they're not spending this again for some years. And it's not even that the product may be bad, but this kind of behavior is very dangerous. I mentioned earlier about something about GoPro, and you have to go back to those, whatever the last GoPro camera that just came out in 2023, I think it is. It was somewhere. And you'll see where those that chose to decline to get the camera was because it was something that was asked, like, don't mention X, Y, and Z. Now, when you sign up for some of these brand deals, it's not to say that you can't talk about certain things, but it's especially when it's new, some stuff isn't finished yet. And so they may not want attention put towards it, or like it's broken or whatever when it's not done. That's understandable. And so they'll have a way that they want that communicated. But you have to know when the line is being crossed. Are you willing to dump out all the trust, all the honesty, adoration, and just true, like, authentic friendships? And, you know, like, for as people I've met because of my content and my channel, it's like real, true, authentic relationships have been able to be built and developed. Would I put the potential for those kinds of things and just the real life change stuff that's happened because of my content? Am I willing to put all that stuff on the line for, it's not like just for a brand relationship, but it might be for a camera that you might want to review, or a thing. It don't have to be a camera in this instance. It's just, unfortunately, this company for Insta360, again, it's like it's really disappointing. And I don't know what's happening over there, but I hope they get it together, because companies can turn around. They do change leadership. Stuff happens. And again, I foresee this being a bigger problem. It's something that you see sneak more into the emails, sneak more into the DMs. And like I said, there are those creators out there where everything's great, everything's fantastic, or if it's by our preferred brand, they can do no wrong. They never screw up. And, you know, it's like that don't work. It don't work. And it don't work for long. Some stuff coming to mind, I'm just like, ugh. There's been some stuff, it's like, oh, we can just like share the good, just share the good. Like, no, it's a waste of money. Don't buy this instead. There's a better option. But that's the newest release, so they want you to put it out, and it's just like, wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole. So I shared Farouk's video, or a portion of Farouk's video, with you today. And like I said, I know I let it run on for a bit longer than expected, but be on guard with some of these brands and some of these emails. And there's a way to communicate what you are and are not willing to do. But anytime that's going to cross, I think, a moral line, is never worth it. And it was something that, like I said, is later in the video where he talks about that. But is it, like, again, you got to ask yourself, is it worth it? Because these brands sometimes are large conglomerates. They're huge entities. They can put out a press release statement, clean some stuff up, do some brand re-imaging to make themselves better than, and like, trust is built over time. And so some people forget, and some people leave the industry or whatever. And over time, it's like stuff get buried over and people forget, you know, and they move on, they learn to trust it again. Easier said for a bigger brand than for an individual. Because whatever impression that people tend to create and make of you, it takes them a while to maybe change that. It's not as fast as with the brand, because they got return policies, you got HR, they can just get their money back. It's not that big of a deal. But if somebody's going to trust your content or skip over your content, trust your word, or learn to just throw everything that you say away because it is found that you cannot be trusted, that's never a position I don't think anybody ever should be in, or allow a brand to position you in. And so we haven't seen all of what's to come back of this yet, and I'll keep up with the story. And if we get some more details that gets published or what have you, but I'm watching this very closely because he also shared on his community tab about watching who says something about it and watch who doesn't say something about it. All the brands that I do business with that I, willing to put my name behind are brands that I'm willing to put my name behind, that if I didn't have a channel, if I wasn't making content, I'd be willing to still do all of the same things. I would still be doing business with them. Not because they bribed me, not because they paid me, not because they asked me to break the law, no crime stuff, because like for real brand loyalty has been built and developed, and brand affinity. So something to watch for as you're growing your business and your brand. And it may not be this particular company, but it could be others. Like I said, people get to playing in this Shady Acres type stuff, and it's just something to be on guard for. So a little bit different of an episode, but I feel like this was like a very important thing to bring to the table, because these are the conversations that happen in email and creator to creator behind closed doors as we're talking about stuff. And the fact that it was this that they sharing is like, this is dangerous territory. Very, very dangerous territory. So be careful, guard yourself, guard your content, and don't let anybody put what you've built into jeopardy. I don't care if you got 50 subscribers to your channel. I don't care if you just set up your account today. It ain't worth it. It's just not worth it. But that's what I'm going to leave it for this week's episode of the Video Simplified podcast. And if you love what you heard, make sure you leave a rating or a review. Actually, stop. Leave a rating or a review. You know why? Because if you're getting value out of it, if you liked it, if you left a comment even on the YouTube channel, go leave a rating and review. If it's been a while since you left a rating and review, go ahead and drop another one. I won't tell. But that's what I'm going to leave it for this week's episode. And as I love to end all of my episodes, the winds of life blows on us all, but it is how you set your sails. And with that, guys, a little bit passion. I'll see you on the next episode of the Video Simplified podcast. Take care.